Hello everyone, my name is AK Chiba and I'm here today to show you a basic strategy for BattleDawn, the online multiplayer game. Okay, now the first thing you'll come up to when you first enter into BattleDawn is the three worlds, which are Mars, Earth, and Fantasy. Now your first choice has to be whether or not you want to play on each of the worlds or under what ticks. Ticks being the measurement of time on BattleDawn. For every tick is equivalent for an hour. So if you choose a 3 tick an hour, then you will have 3 times an hour that you will be granted resources and everything from your colony. Alright, now once you have entered your world, your first choice that you must make is location. Now location is very vital to whether or not winning the game of BattleDawn or not. A very wise thing to keep in mind is also up here. There's 4 tabs. One is to find your colony. One is to find your spy, which will be covered in a later part. Toggle visibility, which can show you all the different colonies and things like that. And then show and hide the top 12 alliance territories. Okay, as you can see, the red Sophie has taken over the majority of the world, which means most likely you do not want to place your colony within their area. But at the moment, I am currently not playing this world, so I just placed my castle or my colony here to demonstrate all the different tools and everything you will need to know for BattleDawn. Okay, once your colony has been placed, you may start building your structures, which can be located underneath the little colony button at the top left corner. Once you have hit the button, scroll underneath under structures, and a list of all the structures that you can build in BattleDawn will come up. Now, the number one building that is vital to growth in your colony is your farm. You can have a max level of 5. What the farm does is creates workers, which you can see up at the top next to your energy and everything else. The workers make it to where you can either produce a lot of resources every tick, or if you have very few, then you will not produce much at all. Now, once you have your colony start growing, you will also be able to start building other buildings, such as ones that can produce energy, that can convert oil into energy, and much more. One suggestion when, one, One suggestion when entering a new world that has just started new ticks is always to build up infantry first. Okay, now scrolling further down, you will come underneath structures that allows you to train soldiers. This is to where you can train either tanks or infantry or anything like that, and this makes it to where you can upgrade your enemy your soldiers to be able to use to conquer your enemy territories. Now, a suggestion that I must make is before breaking out of protection, which is automatically set for 100 ticks, is to always have at least the fourth of your farm built up before breaking out and having at least 50 units saved up to be able to start spreading around and attacking and conquering enemy colonies. Okay, if everything is moving smoothly, then you will have your buildings built up, and now is the time to start training men. Right now, I have 2 infantry being trained just to give you guys an example of what the men will look like. Okay, now in the Battle Dawn strategy guide, though, that they have you do at the first beginning of the game, recommends occasionally rushing your units, which, yes, hurrying your units will make them produce faster, but it also take away from the workers that produce all of your resources and everything as well. So I highly recommend not doing it unless you have an enemy attack closing in that you will not have your men built up before they get there. Okay, now something that is very vital in Battle Dawn are ticks and crystals. Crystals are the things that pretty much will make or break your colony. You get ticks or you get crystals every time you either grow your colony or produce power. Okay, now a list of power that you have to have in order to be able to build a colony score is as followed. 25 workers will equal 1 power, 10 infantry will equal 1 power, 10 vehicles equal 2 power, 10 tanks equal 3 power, 1 conqueror equals 1 power. Now, to be able to produce your colony score, 1 crystal will equal 20 score, 1 power will equal 10 score, and 1 relic will equal 500 score. Okay, now when starting out, you have a very, very low colony score. Most likely, if you joined in like I did into a pre-existing world, then you will have a very, very low rank. As you can see, my rank is 1171, which you can either locate on your colony or next to your avatar up at the top next to all the messaging and everything. Another asset that is very vital to winning or losing BattleDawn is choosing an alliance. As I showed before, the winning alliances are the ones that do the best. If you get into a very low alliance, chances are you will be conquered by a higher alliance. So I highly recommend at least trying to get into one of the top 10 alliances. If not, then ask to become a sub for them, which you create a alliance that helps them with anything they need. One thing to keep in mind with choosing an alliance, though, is always choose members that are close to your rank. Because if you have a high rank and you bring somebody into your alliance that has a low rank, then both will even out and it'll pretty much put in between you guys so you will not have as much of high power as you need. Once your protection has either ended or you've broken out, you must always be aware that you can be conquered. Conquering does not mean game over. Once you have been conquered, all it'll do is have a little tab underneath your name that says has been conquered by whoever it was. Now, one thing to keep in mind being conquered is if you have any crystals, your crystals will be taken over by the attacking force. If your colony has been conquered, one thing to keep in mind is either you can lead a revolt to get out of conquered, which means you have to build up an army to be able to take on the opposing force, or to be able to relocate your colony to any outpost that you have set out through the world. As you can see to the right of me, I just placed a colony or an outpost to be able to give you a feel of what they look like. Now, outposts, even if you are under protection, can be taken over by enemy colonies. But you also have to keep in mind that this is not like your colony. If it is taken over, then it's taken over. You have to attack it in order to take it back. And they can also, after 12 ticks, raise the colony or the outpost, which pretty much will destroy your outpost and give them resources. So always remember, if you are going to build an outpost, have an army either close by or on the outpost just in case anybody tries to take it over. Now, if you're able to keep your outpost for a long amount of time, you can always turn it into certain things. One being a training post, which makes it to where you can build allied units to be able to fight further on in the game, or to be able to turn it into a portal, which will be able to teleport your armies anywhere throughout the world. And then also the Dragon's Lair on the Fantasy and on here in Earth, the nuke. The nuke is one of the deadliest things, or probably the most deadly besides the spy, that you can have in the game. Because once launched on a colony, it can wipe out everything halfway, in some cases even leave all the men at 1% health, making it very, very easy to conquer. A couple last things for advice that I recommend is always have either oil or wood saved up so that if you ever need to do a long attack, you can. And also, no matter what, always keep at least one ship that I recommend having a full 30 units on, not just infantry but everything else, to keep as protection at your base. Alright, and so ends the basic tutorial for BattleDawn. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you all subscribe because I'll have more to come. AK to Chiba, out.